Ginger Runners. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Ginger Runner Live, episode number 77. Had a bit of technical mayhem happen here, but we got it all situated. I'm super excited about tonight's show because my two guests, I've had them on the show before. They're incredible ultra runners, adventurers. They've traveled the globe. They've made films. They do these incredible films documenting a lot of some of these adventures that they've done, including a recent trip to New Zealand. Their most recent film, Kiwi Tracks, is available right now on their Vimeo channel, or if you go to schlarb.com, you can get it there. And they have a Bromance edit, which we're going to talk about tonight. I'll be showing the trailer tonight as well during the show. If you have live questions for them, ask them in the chat room because I will ask them for you. Here they are, Mr. Jason Schlarb from his phone and Mr. Jeremy Wolf from his corner of bibs. Love it. What's going on, guys? How you doing? How you doing, Jeremy?
Good, man. Yeah, it's great to be back on the show. We've been busy doing a lot of fun stuff since we were last on here, I think last June, and so we're ready to get you and your followers updated on the latest filming, latest adventures. Yeah,
I remember the last time we had you guys on and talked about around Patagonia, you inspired a lot of viewers to I think go beyond comfort zones. I think was kind of a common theme because traveling to Patagonia is a big deal. You know, like figuring out the logistics and getting to a country that maybe a lot of people just aren't familiar with. You inspired a lot of people to do those types of adventures, and it was really cool. So I'm stoked to have you guys back on. I want to hear all about New Zealand. Schlarb, what was it like? What was the big draw to New Zealand? Why that country, and kind of what was the big draw for you guys?
I think the underlying awesome theme about New Zealand is just kind of like Patagonia. It's in the southern hemisphere, so you can go escape that nasty Pacific Northwest rain that you live in, and you can go play in the sunshine in the mountains and run up, super high above tree line. And the cool thing also about New Zealand, even if it was in the northern hemisphere, is that it's super diverse. You've got this kind of like ocean beach scene with cliffs, just unbelievably cool there. But then also you've got mountains, you've got glaciers, you've got like rainforest kind of jungly feel to it. Wow. And it's on the other side of the world, so you got that culture of not America, not North America, not even Europe. So all of that combined made for really kind of exciting, sexy place for us to go.
Yeah, logistically, Jeremy, how was this compared to Italy or to Patagonia as far as getting there? I mean, it seems, just watching this film, it's beautiful. Logistically, it seemed like a much bigger production for you guys, both on the film end and the travel end. How was that, like, preparing for that?
Yeah, it was bigger in a lot of ways. Starting with from the beginning with the film crew, we actually it wasn't just Jason and I going with our GoPro this time. We had two video guys along, Joe Wolpert, who did around Patagonia with us, and we also brought in another guy, Bobby Jawrig, here from Missoula. And so we had both Jason and I to transport around and the two film guys. And this, in order to talk about and see all this diversity that Jason mentioned, we had to go and drive to all these places. It wasn't like we could get just dropped off at one spot and run from these glaciers down to the beaches. So although you could actually do that, and we did that glacier to a beach, but you get what I'm saying. There's so much area to cover. We had to have wheels to get us and our crew around in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, a lot of people already in the chat room were talking about how it's the home of Lord of the Rings and Middle Earth and hobbits and stuff like that. I mean, how much of this trip for you was being a tourist, being an adventurer, kind of stepping outside of your comfort zone, meeting locals? Like, kind of how was that for you, Jason?
For both of us, we had been there. We had tasted the sweet nectars of New Zealand, and so we were going back and really doing a thorough tour. And then also it was kind of, I think both of us had been there maybe with a special group or whatever. This time we were just there to run and have fun, and we had our own wheels, like Wolf mentioned, no kind of like bus or guide or anything like that. So we got to go hit some amazing spots and just roll and go for it, which was really cool, man.
Now, you said you brought along some extra videographers and stuff like that. I'm always really interested in kind of that side of things, having made tons of stuff just on my own, but wanting to bring in other videographers and stuff like that. how much of a part of the adventuring did they participate in? If you're going on a 20, 30-mile run or multi-day fast pack thing, did they come out there with you? I know that Wolport's a pretty talented adventurer and runner and stuff like that. But did they participate in everything, Jeremy?
Yeah, for the most part they did. Some of the big runs. I think the Rootburn trek was 20-ish miles, somewhere in that ballpark, and Joel did that run with us. Jason and I went and did the Milford trek, which is about 35 miles, and Jason and I just did that one solo. So we took a GoPro Feiyu Tech and filmed that one on our own. So Joel was in and out for a lot of the short runs and up to that Rootburn trek. And then Bobby has a bigger camera setup and a drone, so he would kind of film us either at the start or finish of a run to kind of get the before and after shots of it. So we kind of had before and after setup, and then a guy with us on the runs to kind of capture each run as fully as we could.
That's awesome. If you guys haven't seen Kiwi Tracks yet, I encourage you to get it. The link is in the description, or you can go to schlarbwolf.com to download it. This is the still frame from it. I'm actually going to show the trailer now for the film so you guys can get an idea of just the beauty and the level of production value in this thing. It's like you guys took your two previous films and just stepped it up a huge notch, which is pretty amazing. So let's check out the trailer for Kiwi Tracks.
We both have a common desire to go explore the world and see new places and challenge ourselves to go push our bodies to our limits.
That kind of excitement of what's going to happen next. What are we going to see? What trails are we going to encounter? It's mysterious. It's out of our regular routine, and it's something that I think that keeps life in balance for both of us.
I mean, it's gorgeous, and the full film. I mean, the trailer does it justice, but the full film just takes your breath away. And I honestly, guys, I have to be totally honest. When I first watched it, when you sent me the link a few weeks back, I got pretty emotional watching the first few scenes. I was super fortunate enough to have both Jason and Jeremy come to me and ask to use some of my music. And I didn't know where in the edit they were going to use it. I knew it was going to be a film and that they would just wanted to kind of edit to it and stuff like that. And when the opening shot has some tunes that I made over the top of it, it was incredible. It was like this really cool emotional moment because your shots are so much more epic than anything that I've shot to this point. It was incredible. So I appreciate you guys supporting and making such an incredible film. If you're watching live, go get it. And let's do the first giveaway now, so then we can start talking about the film and talking about some of the specifics. Let's give a giveaway right now, because we're going to be giving the film away to, I think, 4 people tonight. And Jeremy, do you want to ask the first question?
Sure. Let's start with, okay, as I mentioned earlier, we were on Ginger Runner Live last year. What episode of Ginger Runner Live were we on in June of 2014.
So the first correct answer in the chat room will win a code. We'll have you guys email schlarbwolf@gmail.com and say, hey, I was the person that won that coupon code, and Jeremy or Jason will get you the coupon code. So what episode were they first on back talking about Around Patagonia? First correct answer in the live chat room will win the code. So let's talk a little bit about just how you guys took it up a notch. Coming back from Around Patagonia, from that film, what did you guys want to do with your next film? How did you want to take it to the next level? Jason?
I would say, you know, I think that we wanted the idea of having two videographers and having drones. You know, what they do and how they capture things is just really, really neat. But I also would say that, you know, we weren't like really wanting to take something to the next level. I think it was a continuation of like awesome adventures that Wolf and I have gone through over the last, you know, decade. We kind of want to just continue and capture. And I think that the quality in which we capture, I think, was probably our biggest kind of excitement for that aspect of the film. So that would be my kind of thoughts or answer.
Jeremy, what about you?
Yeah, I think just this trip had a little, you know, first we wanted a little different flavor, whereas we wanted maybe somewhere this time to go and be able to drive and go check out a bunch of different places and not really, we didn't want the FKT aspect of it or some like super epic mega long run this time around. We wanted to have something pretty enjoyable day after day and go do some longs as long as we felt like going. And so because the way we traveled and because we were able to get set up with the camper van, we could take a couple film guys and we could take all their gear. So because that ability of the way we decided to travel this trip and what we wanted to do, we could bring the guys along and all their gear. And they just so happened, you know, Joel's great with running footage and Bobby is great with the drone side of it and some really close-up tight stuff. So their combinations really just complemented each other to bring a complete package. So we lucked out in just picking a good team of guys to shoot as well.
And a damn beautiful background. I mean, yeah. Some of those trails look incredible. We do have a winner. It was very quick. In the chat room, Quincy O'Connor was the first to answer correctly with episode number 17. It was Ginger Runner Live number 17, very early on, 70 episodes ago. So, no, that's incorrect math. 60 episodes. I'm already a couple pints deep into the Schooner Exact beer here in Seattle. So congratulations, Quincy O'Connor. To claim your code, all you have to do is email schlarbwolf@gmail.com and say, hey, I'm Quincy. I won that first giveaway. They'll get you a code. You can watch the film. So that's good to know. I mean, your guys' trip, what I liked about this film is that it was different from Around Patagonia in the sense that it wasn't, let's go for the FKT and hope that we get it, or, you know, which was an incredible experience to watch. It felt like it was pretty organic. Is that true in saying that it was more organic? Did you have a deadline that you had to finish traveling, or were you kind of on a day-to-day basis, or did you have spots you wanted to hit up more than others? Jason, we'll start with you.
You know, because we'd both been there, we kind of got to dream up some of the highlights that we really wanted to go do. And we also, one thing that's unique about this that Wolf and I haven't mentioned is that we went and visited some people that lived there. Those people being, you know, that kind of fast runner, Anna Frost.
Kind of, yeah.
Vajan Armstrong, who's also a really awesome runner. And then kind of like a cool guy named Grant Guys, and he does some video stuff and also has his own website. So we got to go tour and meet these guys, and we got to set up this kind of schedule of like almost like it was like a tour bus. And we want to see these different places. We want to go to these glaciers, etc., and see these cool people and just really capture a whole big area over a couple weeks, which was exactly what we did. It was a bit hectic at times. We were doing a lot of driving, but that's what the camper van's for, right?
Yeah, Jeremy, how was that for you to do that kind of more day-to-day adventure?
I mean, the variety was nice, but yeah, we spent a lot of windshield time. I think you probably see in the film we have maybe 7 different segments, and we were there for in total 2 weeks. So it gives you kind of every other day we're at a new place filming, running. We were just go driving. Usually we get back 6 o'clock, drive till like 9, 10 p.m. Pull over somewhere in the dark, hope we can park there for the night. We don't get in trouble. Yeah. Cook some dinner, and we're in bed by like 11 or 12, and then we're up at 6 and either running right there or driving another couple hours. So that's how. But we wanted to go check out these areas. We wanted to film them. We wanted to share them with everybody. So in the time we had, we just had to really haul ass in the RV, and we got a couple speeding tickets along the way. But that's part of the deal.
Jason, you talked a bit about the people, and we had a great question in the chat room. I think it was from Kimosabe. Yeah, Kimosabe75, a regular viewer. What's up, Kimosabe? Talking about the culture. How is the New Zealand trail culture different than trail running culture in the States or in Europe or across the globe? Like, what helped it stand out?
Well, I would start with the fact that the North Island and South Island makes up New Zealand, just in case you're geographically challenged like I was before. The South Island's a bigger island with lots of mountains and way less people. And it's kind of almost like a farm, kind of, I don't know, Old West feel almost. It's very, very basic, not a lot of big towns at all. I think a total of 1 million people in the whole island. And but with that said, there's a lot of sports history and like superstars. There's been Olympian runners and some they've got some great races that attract a lot of interest for their size and their location. So trail running, their tracks, as they call it, Kiwi Tracks, are fairly numerous for the population density. And there's places like Wanaka and even kind of Queenstown that have a lot of people running, cycling, parachuting, paragliding, all that kind of stuff. So it's there, but it's a bit wild and open. That's how I kind of describe it, man.
Yeah, Jeremy, culture for you?
Yeah, I mean, kind of like Jason said, I mean, I think it's a big kind of a lot of agricultural and farm community. I mean, you can't drive more than 10 miles without seeing a herd of sheep, on the side of the road. Yeah. So that's definitely where all the good wool comes from is New Zealand. Yeah, and people are pretty reserved and down to earth down there as well. So it's easy to strike up a conversation. In a lot of ways, I can kind of compare it to Montana here. It's just easy, kind of salt of the earth people. Yeah, and they just enjoy and appreciate their outdoors.
We have a good question in here in the chat room from Benjamin Kelly. What's up, Benjamin? Why didn't you guys just run to where you wanted to run? What's with the RV, Jeremy?
Simple answer. We had 2 weeks, not 2 months.
Would you have thought about doing that if you had the extra time?
No, I just want to go to the good stuff. The not so interesting stuff in between. Yeah, windshield time.
Yeah, take us to the epic shit, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Let's add in here. Wolf just did his first 100K. 2 weeks ago? So I mean, I don't think that's not like Wolf's kind of. That's not his style, man.
Yeah, I mean, Jeremy, I was going to talk to you a little bit about that too. The Eiger Ultra Trail race took place a couple weeks ago. Incredible performance, Schlarb. Second place. I can't even fathom those trails. And Jeremy, I didn't even know it was your first 100K, but to find that out, you picked a doozy. Do you want to talk a bit about the Eiger Ultra Trail race?
Yeah, I mean, Schlarb nailed it. I didn't really know what to expect. It's for those of you out there who don't know much about the race, I guess just some quick stats is, it's 100K, 22,000 feet of vertical in that 100K. So yeah, I mean, you're either the whole race is this or this. Jason and I both were hiking poles, on most uphills, so we did a lot of hiking. And yeah, and just time-wise too, I was out for about 14 hours, so it pretty quickly became, for me, not about being so competitive early on, and just about trying to get across the finish line. So it was my first race in Europe, my first 100K, and it's got to be some of the most beautiful scenery on this planet. But I was just so damn in the pain cave and wanted to get this thing over with that I had a hard time really enjoying some of it at the moment, because I was just kind of cursing the course for what it was doing to me.
Jason, was it super technical? I mean, you've raced a lot of races and done a lot of adventures and stuff. How was this compared to other events for you?
You know, I wouldn't call it. You know, I've ran some East Coast races. The grindstone pops into my mind. The loose, kind of rocky, technical. It wasn't like that. It also wasn't like you know, Via Ferrata style, like where you're climbing and doing some crazy stuff. Their trails are really well maintained. It was, if you have any familiarity with UTMB, 33,000 feet of climbing, 100 miles, but it's fairly all kind of runnable. The Eiger, it was fairly not too terribly technical overall. There's, of course, over that, you know, 62 miles, there's some technical stuff, but it was just always up and down. And the Swiss are superstars for the most part at making their trails nice, kind of like all the Alpine countries. But that's how I kind of describe it. It was a loop around Grindelwald, which is right at the base of the Eiger, and race sells out. It's super awesome. It's the environment there. Yeah, the scenery is just unreal. It is really cool, man.
You guys, did you decide to run it together, or was it kind of happenstance that you both signed up, Jeremy?
You know, I was looking at doing maybe some other sky running races this year internationally, and was having a little trouble getting some feedback from some race directors about getting in, and so Jason had gotten into the Eiger, and so I asked him if he could put me in contact with the director of that race, and so I got in contact, and they let me in. So that was kind of I wanted to race in Europe, and that looked like a beautiful course to do.
Yeah, it looked, just from pictures and videos and stuff like that, it looks absolutely incredible. I definitely want to talk about your guys' friendship, because we talked about it on the last episode that you were on. Let's talk a little bit about kind of how you guys met, to rehash for the live audience, where you guys met, and kind of what takes you on these adventures, and what drives you to join forces and to travel the globe together, and kind of what you get out of it. Let's start with you, Jason.
Wolf and I met in college at Montana State University in Bozeman, and both of us were there running on the cross-country team, Division I cross-country, indoor track, outdoor track. Wolf was kind of a, I don't know, Wolf was like not at the time really into mountains. He was really into looking cool and being like super stylish. That's how I'd kind of describe it. I guess I'm the worst critic to one of my best friends, right? But
I can take it.
I was all kind of a city boy myself too, and we both kind of got into the mountains, I think, more in Bozeman. And by the time we left there, I think we both kind of like wanted to go and just be in the mountains all the time and adventure. And Bozeman just had that effect on us. Both of us were outdoor kind of guys and stuff, but we ran in college together, graduated, and then we started getting back together multiple times, or half a dozen times a year, and going to play, basically. And I was in the Air Force. Wolf was working out in defense contracting kind of stuff, aerospace. And we started traveling the globe and the U.S. doing super rad adventures. They weren't always running based. We went and climbed a 20,000-foot peak in Bolivia. We did some stuff in Peru. We did cool sea kayaking in Mexico. And we're like, let's keep doing this. And then we got into the ultra thing, and bam, was like, let's document this. This is pretty rad. And so here we are into now going to New Zealand and other places every year, man.
One of the coolest parts about Kiwi Tracks is the separate edit. They have a separate film dedicated to their own Bromance, which is fantastic. It's called the Bromance edit. This one anyone can watch. There's no you don't have to pay to download it or anything like that. So you can go to Schlarb Wolf and watch it. I think it's hilarious. There's a beautiful shot of you two running down the beach, Baywatch style. I think it's fantastic. When you guys are together for, in this case, 2 weeks, and I imagine in other adventures, maybe it's longer, maybe it's shorter, do you guys ever rub each other the wrong way, or is it like by the time you leave, it's like, dude, we got to plan our next one? Like, how does that dynamic work? I mean, you guys have been friends for such a long time. Jeremy?
Yeah, I think we never get in, like, punching fights, and we're never wrestling on the ground, like, just calling each other a jerk or anything like that. I think we both have figured out kind of when to step away from the other one, and when, by the end of 2 weeks, we're both kind of, I think, we've just been together for 2 weeks, and we've kind of had a good time, but we're ready to kind of get our own space a little bit too. So, yeah, we just had a great time, say, all right, we'll do it again soon, and then, as the film comes together, and now we've wrapped this up for New Zealand, now we're kind of starting to have that conversation of, okay, man, where do we want to go next? What kind of project do we want to do? So, I think we have these kind of intense come together adventure moments, and then, we go get our own breathing room after that.
Yeah, Jason, do you find yourself learning more about Jeremy each time you go on an adventure with him?
That sounds like a relationship question.
Yeah. Do you ever find out secrets? It's the bromance side of things.
Everybody's got to watch that Bromance edition. I talk about the yin and yang of Wolf and I. I'm a little bit of a loudmouth, and Wolf's a little bit more reserved and like kind of thinks before he talks, and we kind of counterbalance each other pretty well. I think that's a big part of our ability to kind of enjoy each other and have a good time. If we don't butt heads as much, we would butt heads more if we were similar, I think. But anyways, I'm sorry, I forgot what you asked, man.
Just were there any secrets? Were there any Jeremy secrets that you learned this trip that maybe you were like, oh my God, I didn't know that about you?
Well, one thing that's really a special, unique thing about Wolf, he's got more about me because I'm more of a freak, I think. But Wolf really likes to the one-liner, and he also likes to use one-liners from songs. Like almost any question, not a lot of questions, Wolf will always reply with, I can guess what he's going to reply with. He's got these one-line things that is just crazy and funny. But yeah.
What about Schlarb, Jeremy? You learn anything about Jason this trip?
I'm learning more about the mullet each time, just how to manicure it, how to shape it.
Show it off, Jason. We got to see this thing. It's glorious.
Yeah. It's been a little bit trimmed. Special secret is that my son, who's 4 years old, he has one now too. You got to check that out on social media or something.
Yeah. it's genetic apparently. Who knew?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. Schlarb's a good guy. He's intense and he's passionate, and he gets me out of my comfort zone, and so I think that's one thing why I enjoy our friendship so much is I can look back on all these adventures that we've done together, and I think my life is just like elevated to a much more fulfilling level because he really knows how to just take advantage and experience things and just take it to that next level where normally myself I'd be a little more reserved or risk adverse, and Jason will definitely push you to that next level, and so because of that, I've cursed him a lot of times, but I've also got to experience life a little fuller because of it too. So I appreciate that.
It doesn't always turn out either, man. I sometimes really screw up by being way too pushy and wild, man. There's some good outtakes of that, man.
Right.
Yeah, I imagine that there's a lot of footage that maybe hit the edit room floor. Was there a lot of that kind of stuff that you just couldn't keep in there, Jeremy?
I think this trip. Yeah, I think we're doing pretty good. And it's a little bit more as Jason's kind of toned down a little bit as he's grown wiser and longer as the years go by. Early on, though, he was a pretty intense dude. So, and I've also kind of worked, known where to draw the line and say, no, dude, I think we're good for today. Let's turn around. Let's go back here.
How do the families? Because I know you guys are you have families or work stuff and regular day life. are they fully supportive of these types of adventures? And yes, go, be safe, have fun, document, and come back? Or like, how does, especially you, Schlarb, like with the 4-year-old, how does that work?
You know, I've got the opportunity right now that I'm like I'm working full time as a runner, so I get to be with Maggie and Felix almost every day, and as we've been discussing, I can be a lot. So Maggie kind of like sends me off and says, "Okay, get out of here, man. You got to give me some room almost." So I think there's a little bit of that, and also she knows that I've got to go and do something outrageous and crazy and like big and wild. And if I don't, I just won't. I can kind of, you know, just kind of, I don't get depressed is a little bit exaggerating, but you know, I've got to go do that, and she knows that. So we see eye to eye for most of the time. So there's always a balance, just like in any relationship, I guess.
Yeah, of course. What about you, Jeremy?
Yeah, I'm the same boat as Jason. Not the professional full-time runner boat, but the married with a 4-year-old boat as well. And yeah, so in my case, it's a little more of a trade-off. It's like, okay, if you're going to play with Jason in New Zealand for 2 weeks, you better take us to Switzerland when you go run the Eiger. So yeah, my wife and kid came to Switzerland with us with me for 2 weeks.
That's awesome.
So yeah, it's give and take. So they get to have, you know, come along for some of the travels too.
I think we need to give away another code to download Kiwi Tracks. So Schlarb, I'll let you ask this question this time. Go for it. This is for a free code.
This is a tough one. This is going to be a double. Since the last one went so quick, but where do I live now, and where does Wolf live now?
Good question. Where does Jason Schlarb live currently? Where does Jeremy Wolf live currently? It's a two-part answer, so the best way for me to see it is to say like Schlarb or Wolf and their location, and Schlarb or Wolf and their location. So first correct answer in the chat room gets a download code for Kiwi Tracks, which is pretty cool. So what was your favorite part? That's the big question. This footage is incredible. The adventures look amazing. These tracks look like otherworldly. Jeremy, what was your favorite part of this trip?
My favorite part was the one place we actually got to spend, I think, 2 nights. Of the whole trip, we spent 2 nights in the same place, and it was the very last place of the trip. And it was off the beaten path. It was a place that Jason had stayed with his family when he was bike touring there a couple years ago, so he knew about it. And it's called Fariki Beach. And being a mountain guy, I wasn't necessarily thinking I'd be really into the beach scene, but this is a really remote beach, north part of the South Island, and it has just unbelievable cliffs dropping straight down in the ocean with little tunnels and big holes going through these cliffs that provide shots out into the ocean. And you're just kind of running on these grassy knolls, you know, in and out of sheep out there. And we had the one place we got rained on, so we had some kind of cool weather going on when we were out there. And it's the very last segment in the film, and actually what we're going to release later this month is I think we're going to release just the Fariki segment because the videography is spectacular in that more than anything else besides a cool place to run. So I think we're going to put that out there for the public just to get a taste of what the feature film is like, because that is an epic place.
That sounds awesome. Before I let you answer, because I definitely want to hear your answers, we have a lot of answers in the chat room that are not even remotely correct, but hilarious. For example, I just missed it. Here we go. Wolf lives in the forest. Schlarb lives in a shack where there aren't any barbers. That was from Ben Lucas. I think it's dynamite. I'm actually going to give it to this person because no one's getting the correct answer. I'll give the actual correct answer here in a second. But Zev Robbins was the first to answer with technically correct answers, which is Earth and Earth. So a very generic answer, but technically correct. So I will give it to Zev Robbins. Zev, you know what to do. Email schlarbwolf@gmail.com and say, hey, I'm Zev. I said Earth, Earth. And get a coupon code.
Yeah. What planet does Zeb live on?
Yeah, Zeb is on another planet entirely.
Yeah.
Jason, what were the correct answers?
As of like a year and a half ago, we both lived in Missoula, Montana, and then I moved back to the Rockies and the San Juans, which I consider one of the best mountain ranges in the world. Durango, Colorado, 50 miles. I guess that would be south of Silverton, the start of the Hard Rock 100.
Oh, see, now we do have correct answers. I should have just waited a little bit longer. I'm sorry, guys. I started laughing a lot at the comments because they were really funny.
We'll get to and whoever else got it. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm going to kind of scroll back here. Durango, Missoula from NCB or NC Base Mix. Missoula, Durango was Phil LaCroix. So let's say, oh man, a lot of people got the correct answers here. It looks like the first correct was Jesse Luna. So Jesse, go ahead and email them at schlarbwolf@gmail.com because congratulations, you also had the correct answers. And it looks like you're first here in my chat room with Durango and Missoula. So congratulations. So yeah, Jason, what was your favorite part of this trip?
Well, you know, I think the diversity of terrain that we saw, man, you just can't imagine having so much in such a small island. Like there's fjords, there's these, you know, like Norway, but it's you know, New Zealand, but right next to it is like Mount Cook, which is like this place where, you know, Sir Edmund Hillary trained to do Everest for the first time. And then there's kind of like these beautiful beaches, and you could literally go from all three of those places, you know, in one day, which is crazy. But if I picked one spot, it'd be the same as Wolf. I finished my trip with Maggie. Maggie and I and Felix cycle toured for almost 4 months, circumnavigating the South Island. So we literally saw the entire damn island.
Wow.
But we loved that Feriki place the most. And kind of the cool thing about New Zealand is, you know, beaches in California and even Oregon and Washington, or especially on the East Coast, you find a really cool spot, and there's going to be a lot of people, and there's going to be a town, and there's going to be a road. New Zealand, you can go to some unbelievable badass beaches, and there's like nothing. You can just completely be alone for miles, you know, and have to hike out there. It's awesome. So Feriki, it was super dramatic, and it was just unbelievably gorgeous. It's the start of the teaser that we watched. So that's kind of the magic home run spot for sure.
Did you guys ever have to deal with permitting or anything like that, or for backcountry camping, or you mentioned pulling the RV over and maybe not being in a place you should be? Did you ever run into any of that kind of stuff, or do they just allow you to go wherever you like, Jeremy?
Yeah, parking. We had our RV was self-contained, so it had a bathroom and shower and that stuff in there. We never used it, but because it had that, it had a sticker on it, and so that pretty much gives you free reign on where you can park. The only permit that we really had to deal with was to run the Milford Track in a day, and Jason had to basically. It's of course we like. You know, we knew we were gonna run the Milford Track, and we knew this for months in advance. But you know, did we like think about getting a permit to do it like until we got there like a half day before we're gonna do it? No. So Jason calls the Department of Conservation. I forget if that's the right term or not, but they're the ones who can issue us a pass to run the Milford Track in a day. Everybody else who does it hikes it, and it takes them 5 days to do it. You know, it's 35 miles.
Right.
And so Jason had to give this lady at the last minute our link to our website and his website, so she could go check him out and make sure that we were capable of like actually be able to run this thing in a day. Because I can't blame them; they don't want to like come and have to like rescue us or save us or bail us out, right? So first they had to make sure we're legit, and then they had to give us a permit to run it, and then we could go buy each end of this Milford Trek. We had to get a boat ride to the start and to the finish. So before we could even get those tickets to get the boat rides, we had to get the permit. You know, so like at the 12th hour, we just got the thumbs up, and we were able to go do the Milford Track. So that was pretty lucky and a spectacular run too.
Yeah, Sounds amazing, and I want to give away another coupon because people are definitely really happy with the last answers. So I think we're going to get some good ones here as well. Jeremy, I'll let you ask this other. I know you have a couple questions, so this is for another coupon code for Kiwi Tracks. Go for it.
Okay. Well, I think we've talked about the first 2 out of the 3 here already. So first person to name our 3 films that we've produced in the last 3 years will win a coupon code. So type in the feature films from this year, last year, and 2013, and we'll send you a free code.
So list all 3 in one comment, not in 3 separate comments. It's harder to track that way. But the first correct answer will win a coupon code to download Kiwi Tracks and watch it whenever you want. So go for it, guys. I'm actually really curious about some of the challenges that maybe you guys encountered on this trip. Jason, what would you feel was probably the biggest challenge? Maybe if it's personal or like in a group scenario, either one would be great. But I'm just curious how the challenges.
You know, one of the big challenges that we've already kind of mentioned is how much touring we had to do. And you throw 4 dudes into one camper van for 24/7 practically, besides when they're running. And I like this, you like that. We ate a lot of sausage, and I love sausage. I love sausage because I'm grain free and I usually pretty low carb. But I mean, everybody else isn't necessarily, and so we're trying to get stuff quick to eat in the camper that's not like extravagant. That's kind of works with everybody's meal. So Joel and Bobby got really kind of they made jokes about how much I liked sausage and whatever, and yeah, we had some food issues, and then we had to drive. We really wanted to see Anna, but Anna was like always globetrotting all year long, and she's like, I'm at home. I can't come out and meet you. If you guys want to come and hang out, you got to come out. We had to drive, oh my gosh, like 5 or 6 hours out to Dunedin, and then 5 or 6 hours the next day, and that was really challenging. And we got that can make you cranky, but we topped it off by staying out all night, and then drove 5 or 6 hours back. So those are some of the big challenges, and we were running a lot too. We ran 100 miles in 1 week with all this traveling, so it was absolutely nuts, man.
That's crazy. Jeremy has a new guest. Who is this? Who do we have on the show now?
This is Autumn. Can you say hi?
Hi.
Hi, Autumn. Did you miss your dad? I don't know if she can even hear me.
There you go.
Hi, Autumn. How are you?
Good.
Can you hear me, Autumn? Hi. Did you miss your dad when he was in New Zealand?
Mm-hmm.
Is she a runner as well? Does she run?
Yeah, in fact, she just did her first and only trail race of her life was in Switzerland. She did the
wow.
She did the 50K, not the 100K. No, kidding. They had a kids race at the Eiger. Yeah, and so so she did that, and then we're actually going to head up to Squamish here in a few weeks, and she's going to be doing the kids race up there. So I think we might see you up there.
Yeah, I'll see you up in Squamish for sure. That's definitely a fun race. And if you've done Eiger, Squamish is the same except worse. So get ready to have fun. We have winners in the chat room, by the way. Jeremy, I want to ask you one of the toughest parts of the trip for you, but we have correct answers, so I have to acknowledge them. But we also have funny answers. I don't know how we were going to get it, but we did. Randy Cufaro says, the 3 movies that you guys made, Star Wars 1, 2, and 3. Close. Fairly close. Thomas Ripley also had a really great answer, but it was not correct. Kiwi Tracks, Moose Tracks, and Train Tracks. Unfortunately, not correct. But the first correct answer in the chat room was from Tyler Kirkendall, and that was Kiwi Tracks around Patagonia and opening the route. That is the correct answer. So congratulations, Tyler. Email schlarberwolf@gmail.com and get your download coupon. That was excellent. Laughing at these answers. You guys are really great tonight. The live audience is on point, which is great. So Jeremy, what do you think was one of the toughest parts of the journey for you?
That one of the toughest parts, I'll get kind of in the details here a little bit, but it's working with the videographer guys, because these guys are, in their mind, they're kind of storytellers, and so really figuring out what this video was going to be about, was kind of something we had to wrestle with, because ultimately this was kind of this was really just, it's kind of a travelogue to some degree. I mean, there's our friendship and there's meeting the New Zealanders, but it's just going and exploring these different places. And so there's not necessarily a real deep human story or really getting deep on an emotional level in this film, which I think maybe some of the guys wanted to capture that a little more, but it just really didn't exist. So I think it was kind of, as a team, collectively coming together and really being like, yeah, this film is about just highlighting New Zealand, about highlighting some Kiwi people that we meet, and a little bit about the Schlarb Wolf friendship. And like, that's going to be it. It's not going to be anything really deeper than that. And we were okay with that, because I guess just kind of as a team, getting to that point was something that took some massaging and kind of coming to agreement on what this whole film was going to be about.
It turned out great, and as someone who's done the filmmaking thing and has been trying to tell stories and stuff like that, sometimes you don't know when you go into a trip like this, or you go into a race or anything like that. You don't know what the story is. So I can imagine it was tough for you guys, because you're like, well, we just want to run and we want to make sure that we document everything and stuff like that. Were there any moments that you wish you had documented but you didn't get to, or you didn't have a camera on you or anything like that? Jason, did you ever run into that scenario?
Yeah, we did. There's some funny stuff that happened. Like the cop coming and talking to me about passing, and the guy that I was passing got so pissed off he called the cops, and the cops and this lady like chewed me out about how tourists are like causing problems, and there's death because I don't know how to drive on the right side of the road. That kind of stuff. And then there's we do capture some of the the bromance, but there's always super fun stuff that happens that we don't necessarily always capture. Especially videographers shouldn't kind of be in the video, and so we're hanging out 24/7 for over 2 weeks, and stuff that happens in between the videographers, and that's true for the Solomon T African detachment, whatever. There's cool things that happens that we just can't really tell because it's not about them, and so they're really particular about that. So that's kind of one thing that I say we miss.
Well, I guess the real question now, Kiwi Tracks has been released. You guys have spent a lot of time on it. It's a beautiful film. The music is great, by the way. Not just the opening song, which I'm partial to. The whole thing is filled with just incredible music, and you give shout-outs to everyone at the end, and I encourage people to go check out the music too, because a lot of it is just beautiful. Are you guys inspired to do another adventure? Where is that adventure going to take you? When is it going to happen? When can we expect another film? Jeremy, have you guys thought about it at all?
I think we've kicked around some ideas. I can't say we pinpointed somewhere specifically. I mean, I'll go back a little bit, because Patagonia was a bucket list for both Jason and I. We had never been down there, so it's like we didn't have to think about where we wanted to go. We're like, we are going to Patagonia, like done. This time around, we had a lot of back and forth, because we want to go kind of in our winter time, which is summer in the southern hemisphere, and we'd already done 2 or 3 trips to South America, so we're kind of like, all right, let's not do that. So that leaves kind of like Africa, Southeast Asia, potentially, and then we'd both been to New Zealand. We knew it was epic, but we'd both been there, so it was kind of like, well, we're not going to go see something totally new. So we spent probably a good couple months just back and forth, and finally just like, you know what, New Zealand's an amazing place. Let's go back. We'll see it a different way, different places than we went last time, and it turned out to be beautiful, and I'm glad we went. So I think Jason has some ideas here, so maybe we'll default to him. But I think we're talking a little more adventure style again, definitely way less time in the car, and maybe potentially heading back to South America. But Jace, go and fill in, man, what you're thinking.
I'm really passionate about this idea that I have, and it's just an idea right now, but down in South America in the Andes, there's a lot of things that are less expensive, especially than New Zealand or Europe or the U.S. We would like to make this kind of some voyages, some point-to-point voyages using horses and maybe burros, and like having some crossings of the Andes where we really we don't take two guys, but we take maybe one. And but we're going to have him at the ends of the trip, and we're going to make this super, super adventurous, way out there. The horse is carrying the camera stuff, and the videographer's on the horse, and then goes around a pass, and we run this way. Super, super adventure style. Where like I think we're going to the pendulum is swung. We went to New Zealand and did kind of some tracks and known things, and we've been there. We're going to go somewhere and just get out in the wild and just completely adventure style in the Andes. That's what I'm thinking about, and that will tell some really funky, unique stories and get a little bit more flavor, different flavor than we had in this last film.
That's super exciting. I was smiling the whole time as you were describing it because I'm just picturing the epicness that you guys will bring back on film. So can't wait to follow along with that adventure and see the product of it as well. That's really, really exciting. Are you guys planning on doing this sort of thing annually or quarterly, or how frequently do you guys like to get out and do adventures, Jason?
I would say, right now it's yearly, but I see us, I like the adventure stuff. Maybe we'll go do something on the Colorado Trail. I know Wolf really wants to do the whole thing in one shot, but maybe go explore some stuff in the U.S. and maybe do a couple things during the year that's a little bit shorter. Maybe go with get some of our buddies, like let's go visit Timmy in Boulder and do some running in his favorite places. Maybe grab somebody else in the Pacific Northwest and go do something cool or something like that. But right now, the wintertime big project, we'll do that for sure, and then maybe we'll add on a little bit as we keep going, and I slow down and we'll slow down and we're not racing as much.
And so one of the Ben in the comments is saying, just get a gang of runners together like Hell's Angels, but runners. In my mind, I'm going, I can just picture ultra runners carrying guns and murdering along the way. It's going to be. Sounds epic. Sounds awesome. You guys are super inspiring, both on the running front as well as the filmmaking front. You guys do some really cool, epic shit, and it's really, really cool to see Kiwi Tracks and to see the Bromance edit and see the product that came as a result of traveling to New Zealand and adventuring. If you are watching live and you haven't downloaded it yet, go check it out. Go check out Kiwi Tracks. You can go to schlarbwolf.com. And all the videos and stuff are there. I want to give away one last coupon code. I know the question. Do you know the answer? The first correct answer in the chat room will get that code. Where did Jason and Jeremy meet? It's as simple as that. First correct answer in the chat room will win a coupon code to download Kiwi Tracks. So keep the answers coming. Where can people find you on social media, Jeremy? Let's start with you.
Let's see. Instagram, Twitter are at Jeremy Wolf Run. Is where I'm at.
And Jason, where can people find you on social media?
Well, my name's so dang unique, dude. Schlarb. There's no Schlarbs out there, right? It's just Jason Schlarb, man. JasonSchlarb.com, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Gmail. Man, it's all right there.
And, of course, schlarbwolf.com. Go check it out. The link is actually in the description of this live show. And, Jason, we got to get you a hat that just says Schlarb. That's all it says. It's just Schlarb across the top. But then again, it's also going to cover your mullet, so we can't. I don't know if we could do that. Let's see. I'm looking at the correct answers here. The first one that I see is Bailey M. Bailey M is correct. Montana State. That is where Jason and Jeremy met for the first time. So Bailey, email schlarbwolf@gmail.com and get your free coupon to download Kiwi Tracks. So that's it for tonight's show, guys. I'm super stoked to have them back on. Guys, go on an adventure, Jeremy and Jason. Film it. Make the film. Come back. Let's get you back on the show again because you guys are always a joy. Super stoked to have you. And make sure you guys who are watching live go follow them and stuff and give them some support, give them some love. That's it for tonight's show, episode number 77. We'll see you guys next week, Monday, 6 p.m. Pacific, for episode number 78. Coming to you live from Seattle, for the first time in a long time, thank you, Justin and Destiny, my good friends, for letting me use their house. I'll be traveling back to LA tomorrow and talking more about Cascade Crest 100, my first 100 miler coming at the end of the month. That'll happen throughout the month, so make sure that you guys are following on social media so you can watch and listen and read about me crying and fearing for my life and the anxiety and the fear and the doubt and all that stuff. It's going to unfold a lot in the next couple of weeks. That's it for tonight's show. We'll see you guys next week. Stick around for the post show. Will be a short one here in just a couple of seconds. Thanks so much. We'll see you guys then. Yeah! Awesome. So we're kind of in the post show now, Jason and Jeremy. Really appreciate you guys coming on. We didn't even talk about the drinks that we were having tonight. I was drinking the Schooner Exact. Jeremy, I know that you were partaking in something.
Yeah, those whole technical difficulties at the get-go threw us off the routine here, but this is Scapegoat from Big Sky, brewed right here in Missoula.
And Schlarb, what do you got? I know that it's also something special.
Do you want to refresh yet? It's not really special, but it is my Vitargo water bottle, which they have a new flavor. It's watermelon that I actually like drinking when I'm not running. So.
I was actually going to talk a little bit about like gear and nutrition and stuff like that. So, Jason, do you rely solely on Vitargo for a lot of these longer adventures and stuff like that? You just bring it in little baggies, or what are the logistics behind it?
Yeah, it's the powder mix is a love-hate kind of relationship. It's kind of nice because it's not so thick and gooey. I don't have a hard time taking it down. I really enjoy the lightness of putting it in there, but I had to bring some baggies. But I've gotten pretty good at it. It's got that new watermelon one has electrolytes, so that one's cool. But I this kind of adventure. I bring some real food, because we're not racing, So I brought some Epic bars. Wolf had, some Omni bars. We both like those kind of protein, kind of real food bar kind of things, and that kind of little snack stuff. And we both have UD packs, and we're carrying those and have that all the time. And that's kind of the nutrition side of things for sure.
Yeah, what about you, Jeremy? Are you on like the drink-only liquid type of thing, or are you also doing real food at this point?
I mean, for our adventure runs, yeah, it's real food. We have time to usually stop and smell the roses a little bit so we can put down some real food. Racing, I'm primarily a gel guy, although, I kind of that wasn't necessarily doing it for me at the Eiger race, so I ended up putting down an Omni bar kind of mid-race to help get some real food in me too. So, and then the Vitargo stuff, Jason brings along for our adventures, and I definitely use that as well. So, I can't say I'm locked into anything. Still experimenting a little bit, but I seem to be able to handle kind of whatever I put in myself. So that's the good news.
Yeah, that's good. Strong stomach. Jason, what shoes were you rocking?
Dude, I'm all about Ultra. They make a good line. They've got that maximalist paradigm, which I almost race all my stuff in. I'll wear Superior. That is an amazing shoe. Trail, light, good traction. Those two are my kind of go-to guys. The new Lone Peak just came out. Ultra's got a lot of different variety, kind of cool stuff. So the Lone Peak 2.5, those are the three that I rock for sure, man. The Zero Drop and the big toe box, and cool company.
Yeah, they've been super supportive, and I like a lot of the direction that their new shoes are going, and I think that's really cool. Same with Hoka, and I know, Jeremy, you're rocking the Hokas. Which ones did you rock primarily for this run, or for this week, the 2-week period?
I was kind of went back and forth between the Challenger ATR and the Rapa Nui, which just was replaced with the Speed Goat, and the Speed Goat's my favorite Hoka by far. Just adding some extra grip in there, so I'll be definitely rocking that at Squamish and in some future races. So yeah, I think actually Wardian, he might have rocked the Speed. I don't know if the Speed Goats were even in preliminary mode at that point for the Squamish 50/50 last year. He might have been in the ATRs just because it was a little bit techy, and I don't know if the Speed Goats were out at that point. But yeah, you'll be fine in those shoes for sure. They'll give you a nice cushion, and it's just super techy.
let's see. Yeah, people were talking about the bars, the Epic bars and Omni bars and stuff like that. People enjoy those just because it's real food, and that people are talking about that in the chat room. Did you guys ever run into issues with like weight, as far as too much gear being too heavy, or if you I guess in the RV not so much, but maybe more on some of the day runs or some of the longer adventures? Did you guys carry a lot in your pack, or were you trying to go real lightweight? Jason will help you answer.
I've got a great story. You know, Wolf and I, you asked if we had any kind of like hot moments or whatever for like getting pissed off at each other. Well, one time we were carrying the Tech, which is this super awesome GoPro gimbal, and we had a pole to hold it, kind of like a selfie stick kind of deal, whatever. But that thing, at one point, I can't remember the details of it, but it would kind of poke you in the back of the head because in our and I remember that became a point of contention on 2 different runs, because Wolf had it one day, the whole day, and the next day I was like, well, let's split halfway, and Wolf was like, I carried that thing the whole day yesterday. So some of the camera gear was the issue, because this time we weren't going like, multiple days hut to hut, Refugio or FKT style. So we're usually pretty light, but that getting the camera just right in there was sometimes a little bit tricky and bouncy and stuff and pokey.
Yeah, you were using the Tech, right? The Tech gimbal, Jeremy?
Yeah, that's what we were rocking. It's kind of funny that, I don't know, just little nitpicky stuff. We're complaining about like this little Tech, and here next to us we have like Joel Wolpert, like with his UD pack. He has like a full-on SLR camera and his like Steadicam, and then we're like complaining about this little like handheld Tech. So yeah, it's all relative.
I ran, was it, oh shit, of course now I'm going to totally forget. Leona Divide 50K a couple months ago. I just wanted to film it, and I brought one of those GoPro gimbals as well. And every time getting it in and out of the pack, one little like edge of it would get caught on something, and I'd just be like, what the fuck? And by the end of the race, my pack was in shreds, because all I would do was yank it out every time to get it out, and it just ripped the pack apart. I can understand the misery that something so small can cause. So Wolpert was out there with like a full Steadicam rig and stuff like that.
Yeah, and you probably can pick the scenes out of the film. I mean, there's a couple epic shots where Jason and I are just like bombing downhill, and Joel's either like flying by us or he's running down in front of us, kind of holding it backwards as he's bombing down the hill in front of us. Like super talented in that regard. So yeah, Wolpert had the full-on Steadicam setup with the SLR, just capturing some really quality footage.
And like while you guys were running, did the Moby, the Moby, right? Like it's all battery operated. So while you guys were running, was your quadcopter or octocopter guy, was he doing separate things? Did you guys all work together to get these shots?
We together, man. It was we kind of planned it out a little bit, and we need to get some camper shots, or today we need to go and get some good drone shots at the beach, and so we kind of like it was a little bit of a schedule, and then obviously we did our runs, and then we would do solo. So it was kind of a juggle a little bit, and it wasn't spur of the moment so much as a kind of like a team planning session, almost on a daily basis.
That's pretty cool. Honestly, guys, I appreciate you taking the time away from families and stuff like that to sit down with me tonight and talk about the film and logistics and adventure and stuff like that. I love talking to you guys about it, because the adventure side of things is always so inspiring, to be able to pursue something that not only is, hey, I can't wait to make a really cool film out of this, but also seems to fulfill you guys. I think that's really cool, and I can't wait to kind of go on adventures of my own and try to do that stuff that helps fulfill the soul and kind of keep us alive. Again, you guys are awesome. Thank you for coming on the show. We got to get you back on after the next adventure, or any cool shit you guys are doing. Let me know. Let's get you back on the show. If you guys are out there watching live, thank you for sticking around for a little bit of the post show. And next Monday, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, don't miss it, right here at youtube.com/thegingerrunner for more Ginger Runner Live. And remind everyone, Jeremy and Jason, where they can find you. Jeremy, let's start with you, social media-wise.
Yeah, it's at Jeremy Wolf Run or wolfjeremy.com.
And Jason.
I am the special unique guy, Jason Schlarb, everything.com, Gmail, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook.
Do not lose the mullet, Schlarb. Do not lose it.
I'm not going to, man. I think I'm gonna die with this thing. Maybe I'll even go bald and like just have the back, you know. I'm in, dude.
That actually sounds terrifying and incredible. Being the one guy that shaves his whole head but leaves the back of the mullet, I think that's excellent.
Martial artist or something, yeah.
Thanks again, everyone, for watching live. Another really fun show. Jeremy Wolf and Jason Schlarb. We'll see you guys next week. Thank you so much. Peace out.